I'm Greg Tepper. This is Greg Powers. And this is This Week
in Recruiting.
It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, the Next Level Athlete. Follow him on Twitter at GPowerScout. Follow Next Level Athlete on Twitter at Next Level D1. See his fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. And, of course, this segment is brought to you by our good chicken friends at Chicken Express. Chicken Express, if they had beans, Powers would eat them.
I would. They provide some fast and friendly service of quality foods.
That's exactly right. They really do. We've all had bad fast food experiences. I've never had a bad the worst Chicken Express experience I've ever had is like average. Do you know what I mean? And because they aim for excellence.
I feel like they could pull off. I don't know if you consider this a bean, but I feel like black-eyed peas would go well with their kind of.
Their green beans are pretty good.
Oh, okay.
Green beans. I've never had their green beans.
They are good.
I like green beans.
Yeah, they're pretty good. You probably just, you pick your top two sides when you
That's
go.
Exactly
so
right. Because that's the problem. Because the sides are so generous that like if you go more than two, like you're basically only eating sides.
Mm-hmm.
I've had them when we do like the family meal.
Chicken.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like the family meal, and then Grandma wants some green beans, and that's when I've had them. And they're good.
And when Grandma wants green beans, gosh darn it.
I got to get, basically, I need, because Max is too small, he's not eating solid food yet. And so it's like, when he gets to that age where he's eating solid food,
oh, yeah.
Give that boy a tender.
bro, that family pack
Max is going to be like, give me the spicy tender.
He doesn't need to eat solid food. What you need to do is take that tender,
cream gravy,
dip it in the mashed potatoes, and just let him suck the mashed potatoes right off of there.
That's not a bad idea.
Listen. Hey,
he would think that you were the cool parent if you did that.
You've got grown children, right?
Yeah,
they turned out
that
fine.
won't hurt him.
They turned out great. This week in recruiting with Greg Powers, Next Level Athlete. A lot to get to this week in the roundup. We're going to start with our prospect on the rise. Our prospect on the rise, we're going to Wichita Falls Hershey, who's going to have a new head coach, but one of the playmakers that head coach is going to inherit is Jamarion Carroll, the wide receiver, starting to pick up a little bit more momentum on the recruiting trail. He had a couple of offers this week from Texas State and San Diego State, but he's also got offers already from Tech and SMU. You like this kid a lot, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, I think he is one of these guys that's really going to take off in the spring. You know, they have another highly recruited guy on their team in Marion Peterson that a lot of colleges are going to come through there, and when they're there, they're going to notice this guy for sure. 6'2", 185-pound wide receiver who has pretty great athleticism. I think he plays basketball there too. But he was a huge part of this team's success. You know, they were kind of a 1-2 punch. They didn't just have to rely on Peterson coming out of the backfield. They like to spread the ball around, and he's a guy who can make defenses pay in red zone situations. And really, this is, to me, as I look back on the 2021 season, I feel like Hershey is one of those teams that was like one of the unheralded or one of the teams that not a lot of people gave a lot of credit to, even though that they went on a state semifinal run.
Yeah, until they were one of those teams that I think showed up in the semifinals. Everyone's like,
right.
You know what I mean? And then they played the eventual state champ Stephenville within, basically they were a play away from playing.
Yeah,
for
I think
title.
it was a three-point win for Stephenville, and it was a great game. And they have a lot of talent coming back next year as well. I know that they have to replace some key pieces, but when you get to start with a guy like Carroll on the outside and Peterson out of the backfield, they're going to have some weapons and be a force in 482.
You are most certainly right. They're going to be really good, and especially when you got a guy like Jamarion Carroll out on the outside. Let's go to our commit of the week. Our commit of the week going to LaGrange to talk about their soon-to-be senior, calling him a cornerback, although at LaGrange he is a do-it-all athlete. Bravion Rogers. I never knew his name was Jonathan.
Yep.
Okay. I learned something today. Bravion Rogers commits to Texas A&M. He had offers from all over the place. He's the number 18 prospect in our DCTF Hot 100. I mentioned athlete. He's a guy. He was like 1,000-yard rusher for LaGrange last year, and he's a weapon out of the backfield. He is that quintessential 4A player that he's our best player, so let's use him as much as we can. But you think he's going to stick on the defensive side when he gets to College Station?
Yeah, I kind of like him as a corner. You know, guys like him are hard to find out there that can play on an island, that has his skill set. You know, he's listed with the sub 4.40. You know, right at 6 foot, probably right around 5'11", but long and rangy at 5'11". As a matter of fact, whenever I wrote the DCTF Rising piece on his, the blurb for him back in October, I was shocked. I thought he would, just by watching him play right here, he looks 6'1".
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it has extreme athleticism, is one of those guys that can do anything on the football field. And as he gets into college and is able to concentrate at one spot, in which I think that'll either be corner or safety, definitely I think he's a defensive secondary guy at Texas A&M. Sky's the limit for him. He's a small-town guy. He's the highest-rated player coming out of LaGrange since J.K. Dobbins. We all know how that worked out.
I remember him.
Yeah, he was pretty good. And he's one of the top, defensive secondary players in the entire country, not just a one-trick pony. And he really is, a guy that the Leopards will lean on heavily to do a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
really.
He's going to be a guy who lines up at running back. They're going to kind of flex him out in the slot and stuff like that. He of course is going to play on the defensive side as well, play on special teams. He's a guy who's basically not going to leave the field for LaGrange, and it's easy to see why. Now the Texas A&M commit, Bravion Rogers. It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers and Nick Athlete here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation at hashtag TF Today. Let's get to our Underclassmen of the Week. Our Underclassmen of the Week going to Katie Tompkins, to their soon-to-be junior tackle, Ashton Funk.
Amazing.
Already, don't need to know anything else. 5-star.
Quality name.
Don't need to. I don't need to see him. You could tell me he's 4'11" and 44 pounds, and I'd be like 5-star. I don't care. Ashton Funk, though, is 6'6" and 295, and he's picked up a couple of offers this week from A&M, Michigan State, Penn State. He's already got offers from places like Baylor, TCU, Texas Tech, Houston, etc. The size and the frame here is really impressive. And, A&M's done a really good job recruiting on the offensive line. This feels like the kind of guy that they're going to go after pretty hard.
Yeah, no doubt. And he has serious Texas A&M ties, as both of his parents attended school at Texas A&M. So I think that early on, that's a huge indication that the Aggies are going to be right there. And this is one of the guys who's going to be in the mix to be, the top-rated offensive lineman in the state. You can watch him play here, whether it's in run blocking or pass blocking situations. He has tremendous close quarters explosiveness. When he gets his hands on you in a very tight window, he can send you flying. He keeps his feet moving, through the whistle, and just obliterates guys. He has the look.
Mm-hmm.
He's not too overweight or he's square-shouldered, good strong balance in his lower base. There's not a whole lot to pick apart about his game, and it's no surprise to see him start to pick up a lot of and generate a lot of recruiting interest. And while we're talking about Katie Tompkins, I want to give a shout out to their recruiting department over there. They do a really amazing job with helping their guys get recruited there, and they put together some unique presentations for their recruits that I always find really intriguing. Some good PDFs and videos and stuff like that. They do a cool job. And since we're talking about Ashton Funk and Katie Tompkins, I just wanted to say, hey, good job, coaches.
Shout out.
Very good.
Shout out,
And this is a guy that the frame, there are some times where we spotlight offensive linemen, especially younger offensive linemen, and maybe they're playing tackle, but you're like, I think they're going to slide him inside at the next level. There's no doubt about Ashton Funk. The frame alone, 6'6", 295, that's a tackle frame. So you're talking about a bona fide, certified type, left tackle, right tackle type. There at the next level. It's just going to be a matter of where he ends up going.
Yeah, I think he could slide around and play any position, but he's a tackle projection.
I would say that's probably accurate. But you know more about this than I do. Let's round it all out with our recruit of the week. Our recruit of the week is Temple athlete Michael. I was going to say. I've written it 100 times, and I've only said it twice. Mikel Harrison Pilot from Temple. He has named the top 12. The top 12 are very inclusive. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, here's the thing. By naming a top 12, he's eliminated 2/3 of his
35 other offers.
Goodness gracious.
So it's this is actually, by cutting it to the top 12, he has actually narrowed it down significantly. He's Baylor, Houston, TCU, Texas, Arkansas, Cal, Florida, Florida State, Michigan, Oklahoma, Oregon, and USC. He is the state's most heavily offered prospect. He has eliminated 35 schools from his. But yeah, we've got him at the number 14 spot in our DCTF Hot 100, and it's easy to see why he's got 47 offers.
Yeah, and this has been a guy who's really been on our radar since his freshman season. His freshman season, he kind of burst onto the scene playing safety in that Temple defense that also, features Baylor commit Torian York, who played as a freshman. So they have a lot of experience coming back for this year's squad. Pretty excited about these guys. He kind of really took off recruiting-wise once he flipped over his sophomore year and started playing wide receiver. But he is a guy who could play on either side of the football, has the look of a top-tier safety, and on tape is a guy who really creates a lot of mismatches, can go win the go ball as a wide receiver, is a guy who I know defensive backs probably dread being lined up against when Temple takes the field, and you can see that it's been rewarded with 47 scholarship offers. So, this is a guy who could fit into a lot of schemes, has some position versatility, and that's why I think his offer list is so varied too. He has offers from coast to coast. There's been no rhyme or reason. It's been like a lot of really top-tier colleges coming after him, and when you look at that top 12, it's got a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it does.
There's 4 in-state schools on the list, some SEC, ACC, Big Ten, Pac-12.
Florida, California, all over the place.
So it's really interesting to see how this one's going to shake out. And have fun, young man. Have fun going and seeing all these programs and experiencing this recruiting process because it's a very rare thing to have this many options.
Let me ask a dumb question. Okay. So Mikael Harrison Pilot is the most offered player in the state. 47 offers is a ton. But, Mikael Harrison Pilot is probably, I hope this doesn't come across disrespectful. We have him we have him in our Hot 100. We have him number 18. Is that
14.
Right? 14. Number 14. So we think that there are, at least 13 prospects that we think are better than him. But they don't have 47 offers. What is it about a guy? Because this happens every year. There's always one or two guys who's they're not the number one prospect, but they're they're in that 20 range, 15, 20 range of prospect, but they have a ton of offers. Is there a reason as to why you have certain guys who are just offer magnets as opposed to I don't know, Quinn Ewers when he was at a bona fide certified number one, he didn't have 47 offers.
Right, he wasn't the most. Rarely is the number one guy or any of the top guys the most offered prospect.
It's like a shoot your shot type thing.
Right. Well, it just kind of depends on how your offer list takes off as well. A lot of times I'll use a school. I can't. Did this school make the cut for him? I'll use Nebraska. Okay. I know Nebraska is a school that offered Harrison Pilot. Would Nebraska be discouraged if Texas A&M, Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, all these schools were in this prospect's top 10 or 15 offers? You know what I mean? Will they be well, we don't want to try to compete against those guys. Let's kind of offer guys and put them on our board who we have a true shot at, and are we eliminated because those schools have offered these guys?
So a guy like Harrison Pilot, it's a situation where there are just a lot of schools that think they've got a good shot at him.
Right.
That's what
I think.
Okay.
He's done a really good job of also reciprocating that interest, taking a lot of unofficial visits, and that's key too. A lot of times, and this is good advice for young prospects that are listening to this show, a lot of times these prospects will get invited to junior day visits or sophomore day visits or getting invitations to come attend a game at 10 campuses, and they don't take advantage of that opportunity. And I always encourage them to go to camps and visits, and that when I say camps, I mean college camps. Go to college camps, unofficial visits, go see the place on game day, take your family, because that's a clear indication to the college staff that you're interested. And if they invite you to that stuff and you don't show up, then sometimes they mistakenly think, well, this guy's not really interested in my program. Right. And not everybody has the means to go to Colorado State for an unofficial visit or to go see a game, and that's a school that you really, really might have to save your official visit for. But locally, if you can make it work, try to go and see these schools, get to meet the coaches, and let them know that you have an interest. And you never know, those coaches could change programs in the middle of your recruitment, and they've already built a relationship with you. So it really is a marketing game in a lot of ways.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. One guy who always makes an official visit here to Dave Campbell's Texas football offices every Wednesday is Greg Powers of Next Level Athlete. Follow him on Twitter at GPowersScout. Follow Next Level Athlete on Twitter at Next Level D1. See his fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. Powers, stick around because I want you to introduce the next segment.
I'll stay here.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you would like more and to be notified when they come out, go ahead and click that subscribe button right down there. You can also watch Texas Football Today every day live at noon on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, and right here on YouTube. For more of the best coverage of Texas football in the Lone Star State, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe.